Welcome to this explainer. If you've been wondering how AI actually fits into your daily workflow, or maybe you're even a little worried about what it means for your career, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to uncover exactly how artificial intelligence is transforming the project management landscape from the ground up, and we're going to unpack the reality behind all the hype. So let's just address the elephant in the room right up front. Is AI taking over project management? We've got to immediately dispel this myth of humanoid robots sitting in the boardroom, aggressively running our projects and firing the human staff. That is just not reality. The truth is far more practical and honestly far more exciting for anyone who actually manages complex workflows. Dr. Heidrich Vichy's research actually frames this transition perfectly. To quote the study directly, a decade or so ago, artificial intelligence was typically associated with science fiction. Today, it provides more accurate information that is crucial to effective decision-making. What his work clearly shows is that AI is no longer a sci-fi movie villain or some futuristic novelty. Instead, it's become a totally tangible engine for strategic alignment. It's perfectly suited to solve those legacy bottlenecks, the endless spreadsheets and manual status updates that have literally plagued project managers for decades.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover beyond science fiction, deconstructing AI terminology, and upgrading the PM flow. Then we'll look at real-world AI integration, check out some case studies and metrics, and wrap up with the future project manager. We are shifting straight from abstract academic theory right into practical, everyday business applications that you can actually use. All right, Section 1, Beyond Science Fiction. Let's look at what AI actually means for business leaders on the ground today. Like we said, we really have to move past those Hollywood tropes. AI's true value isn't in trying to replicate a human project manager. It's actually about moving us toward predictive policies, strategic alignment, and solving really complex delays. Think about those massive tangled webs of scheduling conflicts and budget overruns that are so typical of traditional project management. AI's real superpower lies in untangling that exact mess, giving teams the clarity they need to execute their goals without constantly putting out fires. Moving on to Section 2, Deconstructing AI Terminology. Before we look at specific tools, we really need to cut through the heavy jargon, because AI is constantly confused with simple automation. So think of this like a giant Russian nesting doll. Artificial intelligence represents the biggest, overarching umbrella concept. It encompasses technologies including algorithms, systems, and agents that mirror aspects of human intelligence to perform tasks requiring human-like cognition. It is the outer doll that safely holds absolutely everything else inside. And right inside that umbrella, we find these critical subsets. First, machine learning, or ML, where machines learn from data without explicit programming. Pop open the next doll, and you get deep learning, which uses artificial neural networks mimicking the human brain to handle incredibly complex analytical tasks. And finally, natural language processing, or NLP, which lets machines understand and process human language. Each one of these has a very specific job in a project's lifecycle. Think about machine learning predicting cost overruns based on historical data, or NLP just automatically categorizing hundreds of project emails in a matter of seconds. Okay, Section 3, Upgrading the PM flow. This is where it gets really interesting because we're physically mapping these cutting-edge technologies onto the daily work we already do.
Take a look at this traditional Project Management Institute, or PM book, flow. Notice how it relies heavily on really distinct, highly manual phases: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling. For decades, we've spent countless hours manually piecing together schedules, estimating costs line by line, and tracking stakeholders across these siloed categories. It is an incredibly thorough system, absolutely, but man, is it time-consuming and highly prone to basic human error. But according to the Christian framework outlined in their research, AI upgrades this traditional flow in 3 major steps. First, automation and digitization, which seamlessly integrates those complex processes. Second, real-time progress tracking, letting you manage timelines and costs completely on the fly. And third, enhanced decision-making, delivering data-driven insights to minimize those dreaded cost overruns. It's essentially acting as a supercharger for the traditional project management model, taking all the tedious busy work out of the equation. Now, looking at this conceptual framework, the absolutely crucial point here is that AI sits directly in the middle. It takes our raw automation and digitization inputs on the left, processes them through progress tracking, cost management, and decision-making modules, and then directly impacts project delivery and final business performance on the right. AI isn't just an add-on, it is the vital bridge between your raw data and actual business success. Let's jump to Section 4,
real-world AI integration. Let's see exactly what this looks like when we apply actual, everyday software to the frameworks we just talked about. According to research from Leeway Hertz, AI integrates into 7 distinct areas out there in the real world. It's not just a one-trick pony. It's automating task scheduling, enhancing decision-making, boosting productivity, managing budgets, tracking time, handling documents, and even project forecasting. It's basically a multi-tool that interacts with almost every single item on a project manager's daily checklist. For example, look at this comparison of AI meeting transcription tools like TLDV, Avoma, and MeetGeek. Utilizing natural language processing, which remember we defined earlier in our outer nesting doll, these tools can now automatically transcribe meetings across dozens of languages. They generate intelligent summaries and capture specific action items. This completely eliminates manual note-taking. You are finally free to actually engage in the meeting, read the room, and lead your team instead of just acting as a silent stenographer. And if we look at traditional, widely used platforms that we're all familiar with, like Asana, ClickUp, Monday, and Basecamp, AI is stepping in to actively manage the flow of information. In tools like Basecamp, AI pulls all the project data together to automatically provide warnings for projects that are potentially at risk or concerned. You no longer have to manually click through 10 different tabs to gauge a project's health. The AI does all that heavy analytical lifting and just flags the anomalies for you. What a relief, right? All right, Section 5, Case Studies and Metrics. It is time to look at the hard evidence and see how these tools are actually moving the needle for major global companies. A perfect example of this contrast is traditional manual tracking versus AI-driven recommender systems. In a traditional setup, reacting to user demand is incredibly slow. You know how it is. You analyze the data, hold a meeting, and then maybe adjust course weeks later. But Amazon's AI recommender system understands user intentions in real time. It proactively balances demand and supply automatically, adapting to shifting consumer behavior instantly without any human intervention. And these case studies absolutely prove the value. For Amazon, the AI literally reduced the number of clicks required to make a purchase decision from 5 down to 3, which massively impacts their bottom line. AI models are also being heavily used to optimize price elasticity and maximize profit margins dynamically. Meanwhile, major banks and financial institutions are using machine learning right now to proactively detect scams, saving billions, yes, billions with a B, in fraud costs. The metrics clearly show that integrating AI delivers a massive return on investment. Which brings us to our final section, the future project manager. Let's focus on the human anchor right in the middle of all this rapid technological change. Look, as we embrace these tools, we really have to carefully weigh the incredible benefits against the very real limitations. Yes, AI offers faster decisions, automation, and powerful predictive analytics, but it also comes with genuine hurdles like initial infrastructure costs and the absolute necessity for human oversight. And most importantly, we have to navigate the AI black box mechanism. This is where the machine learning process isn't totally transparent. Sometimes it arrives at a brilliant, mathematically sound conclusion, but it's really difficult for a human to trace exactly how it got there. We have to be highly aware of that opaque logic. Because of this black box and just the sheer volume of data being processed, the role of the project manager is fundamentally shifting. We have to pivot away from relying on simple statistics like basic means and standard deviations. Instead, project managers need to master complex data analysis, learn how to govern algorithmic bias and AI ethics, and really foster genuine human-AI collaboration. The goal here is not to compete with the machine. The goal is to govern the data and guide the technology intelligently. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to consider. Do you have the data literacy skills required for the next decade of project management? As AI aggressively takes over the mundane tasks, the scheduling, and the endless data crunching, are you ready to upgrade your human skills to strategically manage the projects of tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to dive even deeper into the fascinating world of AI and project management.